My name is ATTAH, and this morning we will be looking at still the COVID-19 pandemic here, but the issue of testing. Many persons have asked and raised very vital questions about testing capacity of the NCDC, because the results that are coming out, most times people get tested and the result lasts for up to 2 weeks. Some of them even just get tested and never get their result at all. Someone said if you don't get your result, that means you are negative. Or some other persons as well said they have right to their results. I know someone who have tested twice and have not gotten result, and he's so worried about it here. While some other persons who tested actually early December went for Christmas, or mid-December went for Christmas and came back only for them to be told in New Year, when they're already looking strong, running and kicking, that they have COVID, they are COVID-19 positive. So all of this is what is now very disturbing, and people are asking questions. When at the weekend, I spoke with Dr. Josephine Okechukwu, and she told me that one thing they try to do now, based on the delayed testing, is to ensure that persons who show severe sign of COVID, that means when it comes to the issue of coughing, sneezing, loss of taste and smell and whatever, they just put you on that drugs because they cannot wait for someone to die, because the testing will take some time. Now let's look at the issue of the testing and how it is going. How can we really test more and manage more? We have with us public health expert here, Mr. Ume Chukuno. So you're welcome to our studio, Mr.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Ume, let's quickly take some firing steps forward here, looking at the pandemic. Let's start off first from the area of belief and disbelief. It's still very worrisome, isn't it?
Very, very worrisome, actually.
Why are we still dragging with this?
All right. So just like I think we've off the studio and have discussion with people, okay. There's this issue of even pulling back on efforts and the progress we've been able to make, okay, because of maybe statements by religious leaders, as the case may be, saying there's no COVID-19. And people actually, when they have that notion there's no COVID-19, so they tend to lay down their guard. And that actually have really contributed to increasing the numbers and statistics we are seeing every day. And it's quite unfortunate. Just like we discussed around December, and I will mention people shouldn't go and for Christmas. So
they went for Christmas.
And they went for Christmas. And one of our predictions was, please do not take bring home as a souvenir the disease to your parents, because their immune system might be weaker than yours. And within the past 3 weeks now, I have almost 5 different friends of mine who have lost their parents, right? And the rate at which the aged now die, so because there are incidences of maybe celebration of life, and within a week somebody dies, incidences of celebration of 30 years of marriage in the Christmas, and within these past 3 weeks, a lot of aged people have died. And because there's no funding for autopsy to even ascertain that it's COVID-19, those that are living have tested and not even gotten their results, not stuck of spending money on the person that is dead. So you know the economic circumstances around those things. So people just, if you just have small disease and die, nobody even cares to even test to even know actually what exactly killed these people. And you still go along to say condolences, so I came to even say sorry, and you took it home and transport it to a different place. So those are actually the challenges. Religion has a role to play, and if actually they could come and say, please, let's be cautious about these things. For me, stay alive. Even if you believe there is conspiracy theory, play your role to be alive. That's the most important thing you need to do.
But many are still arguing, still pushing forward that as far as they are concerned, they are not seeing deaths. That's the argument they have. They are not seeing deaths. You find that before that we are not want to see deaths.
Okay, so you know, people don't always believe that things happen until it touches them directly. This same scenario played out when the case of HIV, ACE came on board. And lots of people never believed that HIV is real, so they believe that it's an European way of stopping people from having sex, right? And currently, we don't need to convince anyone again that HIV is real, because practically almost every family, whether extended or nuclear, has at least one person who actually must have died or still living with HIV. So we shouldn't allow ourselves to still to that lane with this COVID-19. So waiting until it gets to you, they're ready for you to believe there's actually COVID-19.
Okay, now let's look at the COVID-19 management, because that's where we'll be looking at here. The issue of testing is so much disturbing here. The numbers come out in very large and worrisome proportion here. And many are asking, are we testing so fast? Are we testing so high? Are we testing really in those form here? If we are testing that fast, how come we are not getting the result coming out on time? What is the problem?
So, it varies across different states. Actually, at some point, NCDC made a huge leap in terms of scaling up testing centers across the country. But at some point, that progress started dragging foot in terms of not even scaling it up more. So some states still battle with testing in terms of, if you collect sample, you have to transport it to Abuja, or the closest testing site or PCR center for it to be tested, and then the results will now be transmitted back to the state before it's getting to the client, as the case may be. So those bottlenecks actually increases the turnaround time for the result to be out. So normally the testing results shouldn't last longer than 48 hours. And currently, because of the challenges around having those reference laboratories across Nigeria, even the states that have reference laboratories, there are bottlenecks. For example, if I cite FCT, the testing site, the reference lab that they use here, you test, and the results actually will be transmitted to the Public Health Department. That's under FCTA, that's the Health and Human Service Secretariat. And that actually will be collected and be transmitted individually to the people that came for the test, right? Yeah. So this administrative process actually adds up to the turnaround time, which is why they now say, okay, instead of getting yourself within that 48 hours, so give us 5 days, 5 working days.
But most of the 5 days don't even work.
Even the 5 days doesn't even work. So if you see on the other end, so you see what happens when you're traveling abroad, right? For those ones in FCT, I think they have more than 200 sites that I can test, right? Just to decongest people going to a particular place if you go into embassy or your processing paper to travel abroad. So those ones, because people pay, initially it was on 50-something thousand, currently Atlantic was lower than that, so the price have come down actually, maybe around 30-something for something as the case may be. I'm not precise about the amount. But because it's private sector driven and people pay for it, within 48 hours people get their result, right? Sometimes even within 24 hours, your result is transmitted to you, either via email or go to pick it up as the case may be. Then what happens to the government establishments where these results most often are delayed, and for many that are unlucky, they end up not even seeing the results at all. Do you understand? So that actually is a big challenge. It's actually a big blow to the whole effort.
But now, I'm looking at it this way now. What is worrisome is the fact that some persons may be showing symptoms, and they just feel, hey guys, I'm cold, I'm coughing, I'm sneezing, I have some shows of malaria, all put together, I'm generally weak. Can I really get treatment? And as they want to get treatment, to the utmost shock of everyone, they say, no, I've been on medication, I'm not improving. Let me go for COVID test. This may likely be what I'm hearing about COVID-19. And they go for COVID test while they still maintain the conventional treatment process here. And they've traveled, they finished all their, only for you to come and tell them when they are now strong, they are now running, they are back to the gym, they're already back to work, that you got COVID. Does that make sense at all?
It doesn't make sense at all, because before the result is out, the person, just like you cited, might have actually improved in his health status and felt, I'm okay, I'm stronger, I must have moved out. And at that point, the person might still have some of the virus within the system, but at that point he's asymptomatic. So you might end up even transmitting it as you're going and still feeling that you're very okay. That's why you actually treat anybody that comes close to you as a suspect. Let me use that word, as a suspect, that this person, as much as he's looking very healthy, might be a carrier. So if people can actually get their result as fast as possible, it will actually contribute a lot towards reducing the way that it's being transmitted, actually.
Okay, now even now, we'll come back. We're looking at this one, the issue of the confirmation testing. If it happens this way, someone also called me. I know I have a friend in the media who actually went to the Center for Treatment and got treatment, and to confirm that he is now COVID-19 negative, had to keep him for more than a week or 2 weeks.
Waiting for the test.
Waiting for the test. They did the first test and it was negative. The second test, they just said the results have not come out, and he felt really bad. That the first test shows that it was negative. The second test I need to do before discharging him took almost a week and a half. Must it be so?
It wasn't actually. It wasn't actually. Just like I mentioned. So one other strategy that they could use to actually shorten the lead time for the results to be out will be bringing the people that actually collect the results as to closer to where the test is being done.
Okay.
Sometimes I see the gap, administrative gap between you do the test here, you transmit it to somewhere like ATTAH.
Go to Gadwa.
Exactly.
Go to Gadwa.
And it takes a different process there. Who is responsible of receiving it, filing it, and another person is responsible for transmitting it out. So it takes that longer. So what if bringing all of them under one roof? Do you understand? Whereby you have the person testing it, you collect the sample, you have somebody, even if the office is there, but you have a liaison person that will come in to stay where the test is being done. Immediately it's coming out, pick it up, then transmit it to the owner of the results, and that makes life easier, and the turnaround time will be quite shorter. But those bureaucracy of those moving it from one point to the other actually delay the whole process. Like the private one that I mentioned, most often you notice that the people that are transmitting the result are within that facility. That actually contributes to people getting their results quite very fast, instead of transmitting to a different place and having the person to wait for the results like for eternity.
But what if we look at it in a system where we can be more aggressive here? The NCDC, what do you think from their own point of view that they should be doing now? It appears as if we're still working with civil service bureaucracy that is designed to follow process and not the result. Even if you follow the process, fulfill all what you want, need to get the money, even if there is bad road, nobody cares. You have already fulfilled the process, you're not going to go to jail. But if you breach the process and get the result, like we do in the private sector here, they hail you for it. But in the civil service, if you break the process and get the result, you go to jail for it.
You receive a knock. A hard knock, for that matter.
Good.
Yeah, actually, just like you stated, that's one of the challenges that comes with government bureaucracy, actually. But in this case, since there is an epidemic, so there's always room for exemptions for people to stay alive. So even if you have to break protocol to keep the president alive, it's allowed in every country. Do you understand? So, like for example, I'm just citing for example.
You won't even follow protocol because at that stage, protocol is set aside.
Exactly, and that's one thing that happens with pandemic or any epidemic. So at any epidemic, there should be room for people to find an alternative way of achieving results.
But do we do that? Because if we are still testing and we are still very slow, Mr. Ome, we are very, very slow here. We test somehow, the number comes out. It comes out to a point where they may not be needed. The point where these persons are critically down and they really want to, you delay it for, the least you can get may just be a week if you know somebody who knows somebody and you're able to push through. But if you don't know somebody, sometimes a man told me that he just finished his own. He never had, somebody came again, we were doing COVID test. He went again for COVID test. He never got result twice.
The interesting thing about what this whole process actually throws to this whole fight against COVID-19 is that it makes people to lose confidence in going for testing. Even now, initially it might be just a different disease mimicking COVID-19. Do you understand? Now, when you actually have that disease itself, you must have lost confidence even going to do the test.
Yes, that's true.
That's the bitter truth. So, but government actually have to live up to expectation and building people's confidence by letting them get their results at when due, which is very, very important, non-negotiable.
But how do we build that? Because at the initial stage, what are those persons told? I know the FCT minister and others, we had gone there, and what we were told was that they need to, some said the road to Gadwa is not so good. They had to immediately, within 1 month, construct a bridge, asphalt the entire road, clean up the area, open up the whole place quickly, you know, like what you said, an emergency, anything can happen. The road to the center, and everything was done within 1 month. Roads were asphalted, properly done, drainage, everything properly tidied up. So, but despite that, the problem and the slow pace still persists.
Exactly, just like the FCT owned, like I cited. So most often when they do those testing, they are not the one. NCDC is not the one that transmits those results. They move it to the FCT office, which is at Area 3. You understand? So
public health office.
Public health office. So and they are the one that and those are the challenges that are being posed by bureaucracy of government. Sometimes those that are at the helm of affairs that are supposed to transmit the results, if they are not properly held accountable, people should
do they hold them accountable? Do they pay them for doing it? Do they give them the money to make the calls and inform the people? Or the money just comes somewhere and stops somewhere? Or the money was not even approved at all?
Those are the complexities that come with those bureaucracy. Because sometimes, just like you mentioned, funds might not be there. some might be released, but actually held back from the person that's supposed to even transmit the results. And we will be busy blaming the person that's supposed to transmit the results. Sometimes those resources might be available, and it's just like a lackadaisical attitude for the person that's supposed to transmit it. Sometimes it is you're not having that equipment or resources to do those things. The money are there, but maybe if you need to transmit it with a laptop, and they say there's no fund budgeted for laptop for this particular activity, so use your own laptop. And I say I don't have my own laptop, so until I have somebody that I could borrow from. What if I don't borrow from anybody? And that actually drags for a long period of time. Do you understand? So it has lots of complexities attached to it, which, like you're mentioning, a better way to do that is map out somebody from that public health department. If possible, attach the person to the reference lab at Gadoa. Provide laptop for the person to be stationed there and working directly with them. So it will be a team, just like normal EOC, Emergency Operations Center across Nigeria for the polio case, as the case may be. So if there is need, so you see people from different components sitting together and working as a team. So you mustn't wait for it to transmit it to this place and experiencing a different thing. Even if it warrants NCDC providing those laptops, or even if they can hire, I don't know how they're going to do that, to have the person stationed there and work using their internet, or somebody shouldn't be complaining, I don't have money for internet, nothing was provided for that, as the case may be. That could make it faster.
Okay, now let's now touch a little further here, looking at the scope and what we can do within time here on issues of the number and the centers. Now, like the first wave, we had the numbers lesser than what we have now, and we have been able to see persons, the centers, we are all overwhelmed. Now we have found a way of saying, look, you can, if you don't need a ventilator or oxygen, you can find a way to self-isolate in your house and treat. But sometimes there are complaints that some of these big names go to out, they even go to party. Sometimes when you test them and say, okay, self-isolate, people spot them
at different spots,
running their show, even when they are still when they know that they can't. How do we ensure that we get this very elites who got this VIP and everyone who are secret because even if you have a task force, you can't even know them. It's the health workers who will tell you that man we ask him to be at home.
It's true. So one important thing is looking at the complexities of how our governance works in Nigeria. Right. So some political leaders or some big shots actually feel like a superman. Let me use that word. And they say that nobody can actually do anything to them, and they do lots of things and go scot-free with it. So in public health, there's what is called a case of misdemeanor. So in the sense that if you know that you have a disease and you are supposed to be isolated, and you voluntarily, intentionally leave your house, putting other people at risk, it's a jail term. And people actually don't even understand that such things do exist. And it do exist. So it means that you are intentionally
are you going to be doing a governor, a minister, a senator?
That comes to the point that I was saying that so the most of them seem to be so big and immune to the system that nobody could do them anything. So they do lots of things that go scot-free with it. So if he's a poor man that actually has the disease, like during the Ebola that was kind of dangerous, you can imagine if somebody had Ebola and is confirmed that he has Ebola and you see the person walking down the street. Don't be surprised that they might even order an army to shoot you down, because it's believed that you might end up killing lots of people with that. So those are the things that comes into play. So there are lots of laws, there are lots of policies, regulations, but another thing is enforcing them. How can we hold these big shots accountable or responsible for their actions if things goes wrong this way? If the government can use one person to cite an example, you can imagine one big shot or deputy governor or commissioner has been found maybe positive of COVID-19, being in a party, and some task force just came, irrespective of your ADC and security, lifted you and took you to a center where you be forcibly isolated. Others will adjust.
Now the centers are not very filled as they were before. Apparently, maybe government is not having enough money, as government claim. But do you think we need to get more persons to come into those centers and largely get treatment? Therefore, us to have numbers of, I know yesterday we have about 1,000 plus, Lagos, Plateau, others leading, and others pouring in here, a large number, but not up to half get treatment.
So interestingly, one of the key things that governments are trying to shy away is the funding entailed in running those isolation centers. For example, the cost of oxygen has actually spiked. So in the sense that people, because of using those oxygen, will they be able to afford to cover the number of people? Those are the things that they are trying to shy away from. But it's not going to help matters when you actually look at the positive sides of making sure that you spend money but keep people alive. That's the most important thing.
But can government spend? Can we pick up the heavy budget currently running?
They can. The interesting thing is that if it's just said that 80% of people that have this COVID-19 are commissioners and big shots, you see overnight money will be available to put these things on ground.
But if we look at it, I think very soon we'll go on a break now. But before then, I think what some persons have asked is the fact that there is the need to change the conversation of what we talk about COVID-19. Now, whenever COVID-19 is discussed, it has this elitist cover heavily. That even when journalists report the news and whatever they do are largely within the context of the fact that it's just one big man, one minister, one commissioner, one senator, one House of Rep member, one ex-governor. It's just largely having heavy elitist ideology, and that they believe is not right. Okay, it's almost 8:30 here. Let's go on a break. Commercial break. When we come back, the program will continue.